Part of the 6,000 mile maintenance service is the checking of the chain as well as the sprockets, the sprocket at the rear and the pinion in front, which is the front sprocket here behind this cover. So what I'm going to do right now is check the slack in the chain, and it's supposed to be between 35 and 45 millimeters. If that needs to be adjusted, then I've got to go and do the adjustments here. But before I even start that, I have to check and see whether I've got a socket that's big enough for this. And it requires a 34 millimeter socket. So right now, all I'm going to be doing is checking this. Hopefully I don't need any adjustment because I've got to get a 34 millimeter socket from the store. So let's go ahead and see what the slack is. We'll need a tape measure. So I'm going to propose to stick my tape measure behind here. And they want us to do this in several different spots because the chain doesn't wear evenly. But whatever you do, this underneath here is the whole run of the chain from about here, right, all the way back to the and I can't get it here. I don't have a wide enough shot at this range. All the way back to here. That's the extent of the bottom run of the chain, which is the longest exposed part of the chain. So you want to put your measure halfway in between, okay, and then rotate the wheel. Maybe take the same measurement in 4 spots. Find the tightest spot and use that as your measuring location. So that's the reading there. So from there, we're going to push the chain up. I don't want to get my fingers dirty. The chain shouldn't be too dirty. Remember, I washed it with some waxy, washed it and then put some waxy grease on it. Look, so it's not too bad. And that's about, I don't know, 1,500 miles on it. So it's at the 10 mark there. So let's push it up. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 30. Ooh. Okay, 1, 2, 3, that's 30, and if I stretch it, I can get to 35. So, if anything, this chain is a little tight. 1, 2, 3, what I'm counting is centimeters. 30 centimeters and 5 more. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this again. Rotate this now, I should say. I rotate it to, let's say, here. Reposition my thing, my tape, and push it up again. 1, 2, 3, and a little bit. So I think that this might be slightly tight, but I'm not going to back it off. Well, at least not until I inspect the sprocket. But one thing I do know is that I don't have to. Now look at this. Now hopefully it's in the same spot. But it looks as though the 10 is a little bit higher up, so that means the chain is a little lower. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let me move the chain so that it's exactly at that 10 mark. And 1, 2, 3, 35. So it's consistent for me anyway. It seems as though it's wearing evenly. Okay, so this is my last reading. This bike has only got 6,000 miles on it. I mean, compared to my other bike, which has got 55, more than 50, I can't even remember now, 55,000 miles on it. This is nothing. 1, 2, 3. This one's a little slacker than the others, but not by much. 1, 2, 30, 35. So I'm good. I'm at the lower end of the range, and let's see what the sprocket, the rear sprocket, is looking like. I don't expect to see too much of a wear because the last owner only put 3,700 miles on it when I got the bike, and it's now up to 6,000. So I don't expect to see too much wear. Let's have a look. All right, let's have a look at the teeth. Now, the wear, according to the manual, should be on the side that gets the bearing side of the tooth, of each tooth. So it would be on this side because the rollers put pressure on this side. So you want to looking at it right now, the back side of the tooth, and you want to see if there's any wear there. And you looking at that right now, can you see anywhere? I can't. It's very, very slight if there's anywhere, but let's keep rotating the wheel and see if any of the other teeth give us any indication of more wear. There is a little bit of wear there. It seems as though this edge here is a little bit convex and this one here is a little bit flat. So I think that there is some wear on it. The amount of acceptable wear is not stated in an amount, not that I've been able to see. It's just stated as, you know, a kind of a discretionary thing whereby there is some reduction or concavity on that trailing edge of the tooth profile. And I don't see a concavity. I see, if anything, a flattening. So I'm going to say that this sprocket has some life left. And the thing is, once you have to replace the sprocket, you got to replace both of them as a pair. So the front one would have to be replaced now as you know, at that time as well. Well, as luck would have it, removing those 3 screws, 3, I say 3 because this was the 3 screws that I had. This one, I don't know if you can see it in the shot. This one, and this one up here. Okay, there's one here. However, that is a screw hole, and that's missing a screw. The same screws that were in the bottom can fit into there. So I don't know what the heck happened there. Whoever worked on this bike last failed to put the screw back. I'm gonna have to try and find one of those screws to put in there. It's a screw like this, Torx head, and I don't know, that looks like an inch long. So I'm gonna have to find one of those screws to put into that spot. Pain in the ass when people who work on bikes don't put it back properly. Anyway, the problem is, or the question is, are these teeth worn? And I'm gonna zoom in a bit. I got a little bit more access here. I can zoom in a little bit more and see if I can focus on that. Again, on this side here, it would be on the forward side because this is turning and pushing the chain forward, okay? So the wear would be on the forward side, if anything. Let's see if I can angle it a little bit better so that we can get some kind of a, you know, an idea against the background there. So let's look at this tooth here. The forward side, we're saying, is what's putting the load on the chain. And as you can see, to me, the forward side still has some, it still has some convexity. It's not worn. So I'm not concerned. If anything, it's probably got a little bit of built-in convexity to it, I guess, to account for the wear. But they all look as though the rear part of the tooth is flatter than the forward part. I don't know if you can see that, but maybe looking up here, you can get an idea how the light is shining on it. But either way, I don't think that there's any problem with this front sprocket at all. So, verdict on this. Front sprocket and the rear sprocket have wear left in it, and they don't need to be changed. And the chain is at the lower limit of its spec for slack. Like I said, the spec for slack on this chain here is 35 to 45, and here in the middle, evenly all the way around, is just 35. And I've got to kind of like push it against the limit, but that's about 35 right there. So I'm going to call that done, and this part of the service is finished. If you like the video, give me a like. And if you don't, I've heard somebody else say it like this, press the dislike or the down thumbs down twice. I think that's pretty cool.